Hello, everybody, and welcome. I almost forgot to disable or to enable the background audio, but I'm glad I didn't, so now we can all hear each other's wonderful voices from the beginning, rather
Our
than
screams of despair.
rather than 5 minutes later when I'm like, all right, this is what happened, and go, and then nothing happens. First off, I would also like to say, oh boy, oh geez, it sure is hot in this stream room. Because now I'm wearing that fresh cyber merch. I got my Blake t-shirt, so now I could go around strut surprising of Tiamat. It's a rad time. I love this shirt. It's really comfy. I would suggest checking it out.
I am working on redesigning that so that I can sell that legally.
Well, guess who owns an illegal piece of indoor merch? This guy. So if you want your first run of the merch, you better buy now. And that's a fact. Also, I wanted to say thank you to there were several people over the break who decided that they were going to follow. So I wanted to say thank you to Kulamali and to Varlinene. I think that's your name. I'm sorry if I butchered it, but welcome. So that is what I wanted to say thank you to. Also, just so you guys are aware, we are on all of the various audiocast listening places such as Spoofy, iTunes. We have Stitcher, and now we're also on Podbean. So whenever you are in a listening mood and looking for some indoor adventures, just search that into your podcast listening app and you'll find us. And all you iTunes people out there, I want to say this at the beginning. We hit 1,500 plays on iOS. So where you at, guys? You should give us 5 stars or comments or something to let me know where you're at, because I really appreciate all the listenings that you give us each and every week. So I want to say thank you to all you iOS people out there as well. We're doing good work. But that is it for me. So let us get into the meat and taters of this here game. So last week, you guys had picked up off at the end of a Santor-fueled excursion into the Holiday Nexus, where upon returning, you had found out that Cybra was fully grown, and that you all had kind of experienced a different kind of trip to the Holiday Nexus. Gwen and Cori, you guys had met up with Hubris and Kronk of the Tuesday Night Crew, where Cori gained a additional seasonal power. Actually, I think calling it a seasonal ability would probably be the best way to describe it, because you absorbed the spirit of the holidays into yourself. And then you guys fought a large Ooblex, which was very gross, but it made for an interesting fight. And in doing so, you guys were able to recover the Runt Axe, which LB has asked me for the stats of this axe before, but I hadn't given it out yet. So I wanted to be able to give that to LB on stream, so that way you guys could see her reaction upon getting the item that she has wanted for so long.
Are you giving it to me right now?
Yes, I was going to give it to you right now. Why are you not here?
How does internet work?
There is Gwen. Boop. I'm going to view it. So you guys were able to get should be able to. Where did it go? All right, I will find it soon. Yeah, you guys were able to recover the axe that Gwen had gotten, and then found your way out of the Dwarven Mine, which that you guys had a placard on the front that read "closed indefinitely," which was rather weird because the dwarf on the inside said that, well, they were just the skeleton crew working over the weekend, because apparently dwarf weekends are totally a thing. You guys then made your way to Marysville after recovering your horse and cart, And upon reaching Marysville, decided to spend your first evening in Landlegs Lounge, a local brothel/tavern that offered some affordable rates, if you know what I mean. Wink. And you guys were able to get a room where Blake, you performed your ritual with Tarlan and got into contact with him. And then we ended with all four of you guys in your room opening up your presents that you had received from Secret Santor from the Tuesday night crew. Yeah. So you guys got that. What would you guys like to do now that you have opened all of your gifts and are now just kind of standing in this room? And Cybra is kind of sat down by the side of a wall and is just kind of like shoulders slouched forward, head just on her paws, eyes asleep or eyes closed. She doesn't really seem to have too much input at this point.
Yeah. Caelum is like just quietly putting his books in his bag, putting the silk rope in his bag, and then the manacles is like into the bag.
This mug is fucking awesome, guys.
Oh my god.
Dude. I don't know what this is, though. And she holds up the lavender soap. Some sort of, like, bag freshener or something.
No, I think that's soap.
Yes, that's a Gwen freshener.
Oh. Well, I mean, like, why do you need soap that isn't soap supposed to, like, make you not smell?
Oh, this makes you smell nicer.
Nice to who? And I was shoving it in my bag.
People who like floral scents.
Yeah, I guess.
Like personal potpourri.
Nice. What'd you guys get? What'd everyone get? I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first off, thank you, Gwen,
yeah.
for these. The glass hollow point crossbow bolts.
Yeah.
Vomit.
That way when they hit, they explode.
If I put the right reagents in them, yeah.
Yeah.
Might take a little bit to get that, but
Yeah. Cool. I put names on them. I hope you don't mind. I know you don't normally like to name your stuff, but...
I'll have to keep track of which ones that I use.
You don't have to.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
He's gonna do it.
Cori, what'd you get?
Oh. She, like, flumps the saddle down in front of her. It's like, I won't be able to use it quite yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Where are you gonna keep that?
Just carry it around.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Could probably just leave it on the cart.
Exactly, I'm going to leave it on the cart.
Oh, that makes way more sense. Dude, I haven't gotten a Santar treat since I was like a kid. This is awesome.
I've never gotten a centaur treat. I can see the appeal.
He's a pretty boss-ass dude.
I mean, yeah. It seemed kind of weird to me, to be completely honest.
Were those gloves or his actual hands?
I think they were
Don't
his hands.
question, Santar.
There are many mysteries in this world.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think it's weird?
This fey creature that goes around giving children presents. It seems fake.
Well, I mean, maybe it's just because you never got any.
Why would I?
Did you ever write to him?
I didn't know he existed until like a week ago.
Oh. Well,
Actually,
now we're
yesterday.
gonna write to him.
Basically yesterday.
Oh, today. Wasn't that today?
Yeah, it was earlier today. Because you guys are like, this is the
Feels like
later
it's been
evening.
weeks.
In a while.
Blake's time behind the fourth wall confuses him.
I close my eyes and it feels like weeks has passed. And I open them. I'm still in this goddamn cave, crossbow pointing forward.
Oh no, it's horrifying.
Yeah. Caelum, what'd you get? Rope?
Yeah. Got some silk rope.
Cool. Do you know how to tie knots?
I could learn. I'm learning. I'm learning. Yeah.
Well, that could be pretty useful.
I don't think it's like a bowline knot though. It's gonna get a little weird.
Why do you look like you're changing colors, dude? You're like not pale anymore.
Me?
Yeah, you're a bit flushed.
I have been drinking.
That's, yeah.
You guys hear a knock at the door. And then you just hear, can I get you any refreshments? Or it's just general hospitality. If there's anything that anyone would like, particularly, I can bring it out.
Who is this?
Did she open the door?
No, it was just a knock and then talking through the door. She saw the sock that Gwen decided to open over and then not grab, so she's just more of like a gentle knock, like, if there's anything you need, let me know. Juice, cookies, all 9 yards. And then you hear
orange break.
yeah, and then she ends up moving down a little bit, and you hear her knock on another door as well.
Mm-hmm. Did we bring the rest of the bottle of whiskey up here?
We can say yes.
Sure.
Like fisting it?
So, what did you guys see? You guys did, as I recall from you talking 10 minutes ago, cult shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You okay, bud?
I don't really think so. But
Do you want to talk about it?
not right now.
Right. Get blind drunk?
He is in the process of doing that.
Sweet.
Take offense to that.
Sorry. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
that was unfortunate.
Whoops.
Is there anything else we want to do tonight? Like, I mean, I'm pretty, like, exhausted.
No, I think all I really want to do is go the fuck to sleep. And then tomorrow we can talk about going to see the merchant captain.
Speaking of, hey Cori.
Hmm?
So, remember a while back, did I mention that to them where like the library was open in my brain's space and then the ravens were stealing knowledge out of it?
Yes.
I think you did.
You did.
We might have to hunt down some ravens in my brain space.
She's going to grab him by the shoulders and be all like, when?
I need to get some stuff first. Hopefully, I don't know. I need to plan it out. Maybe tomorrow night.
Oh, okay. I'm free whenever.
Caelum, what do you need?
Maybe a bow, honestly.
Which kind of bow?
I think I'm only proficient in simple. Let me see.
You could use a sling.
I could use a sling.
A boomerang. Because
I have
boomerangs
a-
are strength-based.
I have a
wrist
light
rocket?
crossbow. I don't know if that's a simple weapon.
A net is not a bad idea.
Well, at any rate, I kind of want to try and trap one, and then you could use your beast speech to talk to it, and hopefully find out the location of where the other gem babies are. We've got to find something different to call these things.
Memories?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Gemries.
Gem. I like it.
It's better than Gem Baby, so we're going with it.
Baby steps. All right, so is that your guys' current plan, is to just retire for the evening? All right.
Yeah.
So Blake is getting drunk in the room. Caelum is, last I remember, you were still researching through the Hag's notebook. And then Cori, were you going to stay in the room as well, or were you going to go out and hang out in the lobby?
You know, now that Cori knows that this is a brothel, I don't think she necessarily wants to stay in the lobby. So I think she's going to trance in Blake's room tonight.
Okay.
And keep an eye on him.
All right, and then Gwen, you said that you wanted your stanky sex room all to yourself because you felt
said
bad.
that I should probably have it all to myself. It's probably aired out by now, right?
Yeah, it's fine. There was a nice breeze that ran through. It's carried most of it outside, and like, to be honest, most of this place smells a little bit worse than the room that you had, so it's really not that bad.
Cool.
If not, you have soap.
I guess. I don't really know how to use soap like that, but yeah. Cori, you want to like try and brush my hair at some point? Because it's kind of a mess right now.
Sure.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna do that.
All right.
Yep.
So we got the girls in
Cori.
one room, boys in the other.
Cori is gentle. She's a gentle hairbrusher.
Okay, good.
All right. So yeah, Cori and Gwen both head off, and Caelum, you get you spend some time researching over your book. Blake, are you just getting hammed?
Enough to take the edge off, and then he's just going to sleep.
Okay. Yeah. So you finish the bottle of whiskey, and then you just lie down on the bed and you just start passing out. And you see Cybra hops up on the bottom part of the bed where your feet are, and she just kind of lays down as well. And Caelum, you see this as well. You see Cybra hop up on the bed. It is your call whether or not you want to tell her not up, or you're gonna let her go.
Don't you dare!
Caelum gets up, walks to the door, and pokes his head out and looks for the person in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, pitcher of water and some glasses, please.
And the person nods. It's one of the human purveyors of this area. And then in about 5-10 minutes, she comes back and hands you a pitcher of water, sets down some glasses for you, so that way you can just read. And then she politely bows and walks away.
Caelum fumbles, gives her 5 gold, silver, gold.
Yeah, she just looks at it, looks at you, and just kind of looks past you a little bit, and it's just like, I mean, your friend's in the room. If that's going to be the case, it will be a little bit extra.
For the water, it's fine.
The water's free.
All right, take it as a tip. He closes the door.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just gonna set the pitcher of water on the nightstand.
Alrighty, sounds good. So yeah, Blake is asleep, Caelum is reading, and then it is Cori and Gwen in the room adjacent, where Cori is going to be just brushing the shit out of Gwen's hair.
Both literally and
Yes, literally and metaphorically. Gwen's going to be getting some Feywild elven braids.
Cool. I thought you were gonna say lore. I was like, oh god.
So, funny thing about Coralon, and just continues brushing.
Now this is called a Corlon braid.
Is it
And-
like elven and shit?
Yes.
That's perfectly cool, dude. Yeah. You know, in halfling society, we used to have these stupid elaborate braids that we had to wear for events and stuff. Yeah. It was more like a crown though.
Oh, I see.
Or buns on the side.
Yeah, yes, an updo.
Make you look
Yes,
rounder and more appealing. You know, childbearing shit.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, elves don't have children very often, so we don't really marry for that. quite as much.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. I mean, that's pretty much all we marry for. Or they marry for, I guess I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, my mother married because, frankly, usually elves are marrying for like a status symbol or, you know, for titles.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very political, but my mother married for love.
Oh. Well, that's nice. I was supposed to marry for that other stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of the reasons why I left, honestly, but...
Coriander's gonna pull a purple handkerchief with, like, really fancy embroidery all over it, and just kind of hand it to Gwen and get back to braiding her hair and be like, well, my mother gave me this handkerchief because it was a favor from one of her many suitors, and she always liked to remind me that you can marry whoever you want, and you can turn down whoever you want.
Sounds like a bitch-ass boss. That's good. Sorry.
Yes.
That's good.
No, you've got it exactly right. That is precisely how I would describe my mother.
Is she, like, a lot older than you? Like, how does that work in, like, elf society?
Probably several hundred years, honestly.
And do you come of age at, like, do you grow up in, like, 20 years? Or do you, like, does it take, like, 50 years for you to become an adult? Like, well, physically?
Yes, physically I'm an adult. We age about the same way that humans do. It's just in a society where people live for so long, gaining the respect offered to an adult is a decades-long affair.
Yeah, no, I see that. I totally feel that. We're like...
I am very young.
How young?
20-ish, I think. It's weird in the Feywild.
Really? I'm older than you? Holy shit. I am technically an adult in my, in the halfling society, so there's that too, so,
How old are you?
I'm 33 now.
Ew. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
33.
Oh.
Which is the coming of age.
Okay, I see. I have no idea how halflings age, so I don't know what that means.
I mean, it's like, in human years, I'd probably be about 18.
Ah, okay. No, that makes perfect sense.
But, like, I'm not sure that I act like it. At least most of the adults I know I don't act like. Yeah.
Well, maybe perhaps not like a halfling, but like a Goliath.
Oh, I'd be like old in Goliath years. Like, I got to them when I was like 8 years ago or something like that. So, like, for them, they aged a lot faster than me, especially. So, like, like, age-wise, I don't think maturity-wise I was adult in Goliath years, but yeah.
I see. Interesting.
Races, right?
We're all different. Just the way the gods made us.
Yep.
Anyway, as I was saying about Coralon.
Right.
And it just, like, gradually fades into Cori talking to Gwen more and more and more about Coralon until eventually your hair is perfectly groomed, but you are just dead inside. Like, that was the worst. That was the worst time you've had. because there wasn't an escape. It's not like you could like zone out and look at the surrounding area as you passed by on the cart. You were just trapped.
In her head, I've made a mistake.
But yes, eventually you do end up getting your hair finished, and then Cori begins her meditation, and Gwen, you spend some time just kind of like cinched up with this axe, and if you would like, you can attune to it, as it does require attunement. All right, so now that you have attuned, it is in your item. So all of you people on Twitch, if you go to Gwen's character sheet, you can also check out the item, the Runt Axe, which should be a very good time.
I'm gonna refresh my page because I didn't see it.
Yes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Yay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Yes. So enjoy the Runt Axe.
Yeah, wield.
All right. So
Attune.
you guys end up going through your full night's rest. And Caelum, are you meditating or are you sleeping?
He hasn't visited Brother Grun in a while, so he's probably just gonna plop down on the floor, cover himself with his cloak, and go to sleep.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you find yourself with Brother Grun as well, in his familiar chambers, and he continues the reading lesson that you guys have been performing. So he is going to make a charisma check, you make the intelligence check, and we shall figure it out.
16.
All right, he got a 11. So it was one of the more drier lessons that you've had. It's like the difference between two A's and AE, and then just an A with two dots above it. Like there was just a lot. It was just a lot of like dealing with small little bits about a particular letter or two, and so you don't end up being able to. LB just died, but you don't end up being able to get a lot of this taken. You don't get a lot of actual knowledge from this. A lot of this is a course refresher. So in your progress sheet, put down 2 markings.
Okay. Where did I leave those? Cool. I'm at 14 for your notes.
All right, sounds good. That's perfect. Gwen has now found out that she can lift 420 pounds.
Dude, fuck y'all. I'm gonna carry the cart.
We don't need this dumbass horse.
If I give her strength on top of that.
Oh, yeah. You guys can make a tiny monster. And that's the purpose. But you guys all wake up in the morning newly refreshed. And Caelum, you actually wake up to Cybra just kind of like pawing at the door. Kind of like needs to go outside.
Yeah, I'm gonna open the door and follow her out.
Okay. Yeah, so you follow Cybra outside, and you can see that it's getting a little bit colder now. It definitely was to begin with on your guys' initial journey into Marysville, but the town itself being located in a bay allows these very, very cool winds to blow in from over the ocean. So it is actually there's that smell of sea air as well as just kind of a little bit of a more frigid feeling in the morning. And Cybra goes about and does her business, no problem. Just kind of finds a place off to the side, and then comes back to you, just very excited. And as you guys are making your way back to the resting place, to your bedroom, you can see that there are still just 1 or 2 people still leaning up against the bar that make eyes at you and just, hey, how's it going, as you walk by, as they seem to have at least some on staff all hours of the day. But the people that had introduced themselves to you the night before are currently not staffed.
So they're the night shift. Got it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Is this like the B team, like early morning one? I mean,
It's kind of a B team.
it's like Tuesday night at a strip club.
Yep. The real selling point was the free steaks.
Or the fried chicken.
Yep.
Gwen's gonna get up and she's gonna like she probably feels different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as like she sees Cybra and like she's gonna feel the strikes, she's gonna try and lift Cybra over her head, just like palm her.
Okay. Make an animal handling check.
You love me, don't you, doggy?
Unless you just want to grapple this dog and lift.
No,
Grapple your wolf.
that's a 5.
Okay. And Cybra sees you coming up to her with your hands out like the I'm gonna get you stance. And she just like backs up behind Caelum and just always seems to put him between you and her. She wants nothing to do with this.
Guys, I feel fucking incredible. Like I was strong before, but holy shit, I feel strong now. I want to lift something.
All right.
Blake, can I lift you?
Sure, you
Yeah.
can try.
And she's gonna attempt to lift him up.
No, there is no like check necessary for this. Your base lift is 420 pounds. So Blake, how much do you weigh?
I updated all my features and traits in
421.
D&D Beyond. Oh no, it's my description. 275 pounds.
Yeah. So Cori and Caelum, you just see Gwen laughing maniacally, just grab hold of Blake and just lifts him up off the ground, this tiny form just maintaining him above her head.
I am uncomfortable.
I will put you down, but I feel so good. Sorry,
Yeah, and-
I made that weird. I'm sorry.
And like a carnival strongman, Gwen just single-handedly sets Blake back down.
I'm gonna tear some shit up now. And Gwen just like laughs and walks out of the room.
We may have created a monster. Well,
Yes, but at least she's our monster.
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that I don't think we'll have to deal with. And Blake will cut his hand.
Okay.
It's a 19.
Okay. Yeah. Mark that down. It's a good 19.
Yeah, that is good.
Yes. So, Gwen, are you walking out into the main area, or are you just like strutting out confidently out into the street?
I'm strutting out onto the street, like hands on my hips, axe on my back, ready to take on the world.
And the rest of you have seen as well that this axe, where previously it had just looked comically large on Gwen's back, seems to have actually shifted in size and is now more fit to Gwen's actual shape.
Interesting.
It's like it was made for you. Nice. So to the merchant captain, I think that's what we're doing.
Mhm.
Unless you want to drop your gift off at the cart.
Yeah, and Cori, you just have this large saddle.
Oh, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, and luckily the car... yeah.
Perhaps I could just meet you somewhere in town?
I mean, we'll come with you. It's a little early to do official business, I assume.
Okay.
Yeah, the stables are just right around the corner from where the Landlegs Lounge was. So you guys make your way there. You find Matthew, the attendant. He seems to be very sleepy. He has the very heavy bags in his eyes, and he just kind of gives you a wave as he's feeding horses and other kinds of beasts of burden that have all been left. Yep.
I remembered him. So Coriander's gonna run up and say, "Hello, Matthew."
You remembered? He just looks really happy.
She's just gonna smile, like, really big, and dump that saddle into the cart.
Okay. Yeah, so you leave your saddle there and then make your way back to the rest of the group. And then you guys start making your way down to Marysville as a proper city. It's still a very odd sight to see, as it is just a collection of boats and ships that have all been kind of tied up next to each other with gangplanks and other bridges and boards set out, so that way you can kind of maneuver yourself in between them as long as you don't trip. That is a very, very important thing, but you also see that most of the areas where you could possibly fall into have been covered over with nets to reduce this very same thing. And as you guys are looking around, you end up finding, or at least you had been told, where to find the merchant Captain Blessington, who lived on the central ship. And as you get to this central ship, you can actually see that there is what looks to be a kind of like a bill outside, just a bill of service that lets you know what things you can actually find on this ship. It seems like their post office is also located there, and it is listed as the central mast. So you would know, go to the central mast, that's where you will find the post office. And then at the bow, you can see that there is a, I have it written down right here, sorry. I'm the worst. It is called Horsgrand's Habits, and it has what looks to be two mugs clinking against each other. And then in the aft castle, that is where you can find the merchant Captain Blessington.
Interesting. When Coriander sees the post office, she suddenly remembers the letter that she sent home. And she's going to whack Caelum on the arm.
Ow.
Blah, blah, like smack. Caelum, where's your familiar?
I don't actually know. Probably somewhere in the Feywild.
Okay, we're going to have to... It's like I can hear him now.
I'm not dead.
We love you, Frankie.
Love you, Franklin.
What a good cat.
We're going to have to look into that and see what happened to him.
I mean, I could technically summon him here. It's just, I don't know if he's delivered your letter or not.
I mean, it's probably not a big deal if he hasn't. I feel bad that you've been without your familiar for so long.
We'll give him till day's end, and when we retire back to the room, I'll summon him.
Oh yeah, we're not staying there again, guys. Those rooms were hella expensive.
No.
Oh, thank God. Okay, is there like a steward around for the Aft Castle?
I would say yes at this point. And you can see that it's a pretty wide entryway to actually go towards the back. And you can just see that there are a set of doors that are placed up, and one of them is kind of folded half open. And you can see that there are wooden bars And it just looks like a dwarf is actually sitting at the desk and just looks up at the lot of you and just... Are you here for the merchant captain?
Yes, we have some information about the mine outside of town.
It's very popular, that mine. You're going to have to wait for first party to get done, but then you can have your pick. It shouldn't be more than 5-10 minutes if you don't mind waiting.
Have our pick of what?
Well, the captain, really.
Oh.
His time is
No,
occupied.
what are they in there for?
Well, one of the mine owners is very upset about apparently there's some bodies found in there over the last evening. He wasn't too happy about it, and apparently some mining was going on without his knowing, and well, we think that we may have caused kind of a problem, or at least the miners did.
Right.
Right, that
But you
is the thing
didn't
that we
hear
want
it
to
from
talk about.
me.
Of course. Like what problems?
Well, apparently, some people from a couple towns over have been saying that they've seen a population increase of these large white bug creatures. And the owner that's in there right now, he knew that those bugs were down in the mine. But apparently, somebody was doing some mining anyways.
What a bastard.
Just shakes his head.
What if what would the dude pay if we like cleared it out for him? What do you think? Just between us.
So I have no idea.
Oh.
I work for the captain. I don't work for Denzig.
Who?
Denzig Kralder. He's the owner of the mine.
Oh.
Well, one of them. The other owner's Tobias Bronzefire. If you see him, tell him Denzig's back in town. He's looking for him.
Roger.
That owner wouldn't happen to be in there right now, would he?
Denzig? Yeah, Denzig's in there. He and some of his other boys. A lot of disgruntled miners, as soon as Denzig came back, they all flooded him, saying that Tobias had closed down the mine. And we got all these bugs.
If we perhaps want to have a conversation with both of them, is that something that you could arrange?
You know, I probably could. It really depends on if he's feeling like talking as soon as he comes out. He seemed pretty pissed going in. But I can go and put my ear up to the door at least and see if maybe their voices have calmed down enough that I could poke my head in, let him know. Because if you're looking to talk to the both of them, I don't understand why you wouldn't just talk to the both.
We're more looking to like see what we can do for both of them.
Oh!
This might be a mutually beneficial thing.
Well, hold on. And you see this dwarf just kind of hop down, very thick, bushy brown beard, very dark curly hair, and just kind of quickly shuffles back down a hallway. And then you hear a little pause, and then the click of a door, and you guys hear some kind of hushed voices. And then coming back out, the dwarf says, "It's all right. Apparently, they gotten done doing most of the talking that they were looking on doing. Denzig was probably going to be heading out here anyways, so yeah, come on in." And he hops back down, and you guys see where there had just been kind of this wooden side door. It opens from the inside. There doesn't seem to be an actual handle or anything on the outside. Oh, it's just down here. Captain Blessington likes to, he lives back here, so it's not only his place of business, but his home, as well as, his ship. So he likes to make everything sure is ship-shape within his town as well. So, if you don't mind. And he just kind of leads you guys through just a quick little hallway, and then it opens up to a door on the left. And when he opens it up, you guys can see that there is the back wall of this large galleon that has a lot of windows that are set out so that way a lot of natural light is coming in. You see that there is this large table set in front where sprawled out on it you can see what looks to be a representation of Marisville, but using these little wooden representation of boats that all seem to just be carefully clustered and placed throughout the table. And then as you walk in, you can see that there's this dwarf with what looks to be kind of a darker black hair in his beard, but it just has streaks of white running all throughout it, as well as this dwarf's hair is also kind of white and pushed more towards the back. He looks much older than Tobias Bronzefire, the other owner of this mine. And he just seems to be arms folded, looking straight ahead. And as you guys walk in, you can see that there is that the captain has a like tri-corner hat currently set down on the table. His back's to you. He's wearing this very large blue coat that you can tell is more adorning his position of authority, and bald of head. And as he turns around, you can see that he kind of has a more fuller face. He says, "So you're the ones who just came into my town?" His arms folded, just looking at you.
Do we bow?
Yeah, that would be us.
All right, well, you pay all the money to actually bring all your things into town. Pay for yourselves.
Wait, what?
The what?
It's a tax. It's a tariff.
For what
For-
stuff?
Use.
Oh, for us as
Yes.
people? Where do we pay that?
You can pay here.
Want to
Oh.
insight check this?
Yeah.
Wait,
roll
first,
an insight.
before I make this insight check,
Yes.
is this person a human?
Yes.
Then yes, I'm making the insight
Yeah.
check.
He just arms folded in front of him, and Denzig just kind of looks at him as he does.
8.
All right. So as this human kind of like puts his hand out for you guys to pay him, you see that Denzig just, "Look, Captain, can we please deal with this at a different time? I'll pay their fucking fine. I don't care. I was told that you four could help me with a problem." And Captain Blessington just, "Well, I mean, yeah, but all right, I'm putting it on yours tab." And he just walks over and you see him start filling out a piece of paper. "So, what can you do to help me with my mine? And are you strong enough to hold a pick?"
I think we all are, actually.
Well, no,
but-
okay, that's yeah.
But first off, you've closed down the mine recently, right?
No,
Your partner
I
did.
didn't. Tobias did.
Can you describe your partner really quickly?
He's a little bit shorter than me. Red beard, looks copper in some light. Head full of fiery red hair.
Is he like detail for detail describing the
Yeah.
dead body that we found?
Yeah.
Cori.
Oh, okay then. I regret to inform you that
He's
it
dead.
seems that you're. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh, this is much easier.
Look, when I found out my mine had been closed, I went to go inspect the mine. His body was still there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got killed by this creature that was called a.
Like,
I don't know what it's called.
Anyways, it was a big old bastard.
An ooze creature that seemed to be mimicking him, as well as a few other workers.
I see. And you four took care of this?
We killed the ooze, yes, but I'm afraid the cave fishes are still crawling their way out.
Oh, see, that was the very reason I didn't want to mine further into where we were going. It was too deep. We saw that there were going to be all those fucking cave fissures.
And they've made their way about as far as Silk Creek.
Well, looks like I'll just need to have to close off the mine then. Not the place where we actually mine, but close off from the top, make sure they can't keep coming up and escaping.
You saw the giant crack in the land, right?
Yeah, I saw that last night. I was wandering around.
Just making sure
I
the closed
figured.
off thing is gonna be like actually up top.
I figured it was probably the result of one of my blasting sticks that probably went off a little bit harder than it should have.
Probably that sounds, like a thing that could have happened.
I was gone for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was over on the Isle of Arask, making sure that we could open up a good trade deal with people. But it's kind of hard to open trade negotiations when you come back and you find out your mine's been closed.
Mm-hmm.
But
What potentially could help you?
more dwarves, more people who know how to mine. It's just going to take a little bit for me to actually open this back up, but I can't very well go back to Arask and make sure that everything's handled. One of
Do
the
you
two
want us-
managers I thought I could trust. Well, you all saw firsthand what happened to him.
Okay.
So, you said that you could help me. How?
We already, as we said, took care of the zoos. We're in the line of mercenary work if you have need of that.
Mercenaries? No. I don't have need of mercenaries.
What about the cave fishers?
Surrounding towns might have need of mercenaries. Cave fishers weren't a problem before we started mining off of the actual map. We use a series of arcane and natural sounding to make sure that we aren't fucking with anything we aren't supposed to be fucking with.
Then what do you have need of?
I have need of somebody going back again with a contract, sorts, to let my trade partners know that the mine is indeed actually open. Because again, nothing really makes a situation flaccid like being in the middle of a trade conversation and then having your associate receive a newsletter saying, hey, your mine's fucking closed. So, I am going to be looking for people to be going over to Arask.
Like on the ocean?
Yes?
Right. Guys, I don't think we can do this.
I'm gonna nudge Caelum.
We actually do have friends in Arras that we may be able to get back in touch with.
Yes, isn't that where we're supposed to be going in a few months?
Go up north towards
What?
the area.
Oh yeah,
You were
you're just
very
too far
quiet.
away.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Hello. I gotta get closer. I guess Farron, Mugworth, and Prescott are up in Arask. We could meet up with them.
Yeah, but we don't really know how to. I mean, do you guys know how to boat?
There are
I mean, we
probably
can
charters going out to Arask.
Actually, if you wanted to send us as emissaries over there, we could certainly help you with that.
If you're looking to be mercenaries for me, then
Well,
that
you
is
said you
something.
had- no.
And
No,
that
you-
is something that we can arrange. If you are looking to go over, but I don't have any way of understanding your background. I don't know you other than the fact that you said that you slayed the things that were in my mine, which, how did you get in my mine if it was locked?
We fell.
Magic.
We were
Giant
chasing
fish are
some
kind of-
insects, honestly.
Yeah.
And he looks at you, Gwen, when you say magic. And he looks at Cori. And he looks at Blake. He looks at Caelum. He looks at Blake. Wizard?
Yes, I am obviously the wizard of the group.
All right.
I'm offended.
Gwen thinks it's true. Gwen nods.
All right. Well, it just furthers the point that we need to close off the top part of the mine.
Right.
Make sure there's no access out into the open again.
Right. There's a lot of gems back there that could easily be like.
A pretty prominent vein of silver too.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? Because again, I don't know you. I'm not going to trust my business dealings with 4 people I literally just met.
That's fine.
That's understandable.
However, I know ship captains, and I know ship captains looking for mercenary work for going through the sea. They're only going to be going to Aratsk if you want to go past where they are, if you want to go back to Shroudport. Yeah. Or, if you're looking to go more towards Vascor, you can.
Can't I just like lift heavy things for you? And then you give me money?
Do you want to work in the mine?
Not for a long time. But if you want help closing up that shit, I can just like lift boulders.
That sounds pretty handy.
Well, we, get passage to things. Someone has to be the working one.
So, I can call in a few favors, see what captains are going to be heading out soon. Then, how am I going to get into contact with you? I don't know what you are.
We are the 4 keeps, and Gwen kind of like gets a little bit bigger. Defenders of the keeps and each other. Ah, shit. Sorry.
Sounds absolutely terrifying. How about this? How about go to the bow, have a few drinks, I'll talk things out, and I'll see about possibly getting you all a ride. If that's where you're wanting to go as a way to repay me. Or as a way of just making work. Because I can pay you if you ensure that this boat gets to the other side.
That seems exactly like what we were cut out for.
What are we exactly protecting the boat from? Aren't boats like big?
And at that point, Captain Blessington just, well, and just kind of does like a little shimmy shake and then looks over towards you guys. So, there might be a reason why I like to make sure everything coming in this town is taken care of. Because as soon as you go out into the ocean, things get weird.
How's
We're good with weird.
There
It follows
are...
us.
Huh?
It follows us.
All right, well, cool. Cheers. Yep.
Is there anyone who can tell us about the stuff on the ocean, like up front, and like to someone who can like listen and just write shit down? And I point at Caelum.
So you're looking for...
A lore master.
And he just kind of looks at you and just... and Denzig is just like... Look. I'm gonna go find somebody. I will meet you at the bow of the ship. In the bar. How about that?
Sounds good, dude.
Just hang out there. Drinks are on me.
Woo!
Just sets off. And then Captain Blessington says, well, I mean, we don't really have a lore master. The ocean's pretty big. You know, not most everybody hasn't explored the ocean before. It's true.
Do you have a library?
No.
Dang it.
I have trade manifests. If you want to know if anything's possibly come through here within the last however long, more than welcome to look through. I keep very good records. But if you're looking for a lore master,
I'm just gonna like put my hand on Caelum's shoulder and like reach down to like whisper in his ear. Just ask questions.
Which way's the bar?
Oh, it's if you just go out onto the deck of the ship and head straight towards the bow. Gives you guys a thumbs up.
Right. Thank you for arranging this, and we're sorry about your partner.
Oh,
He left.
Yeah, that guy left. I didn't lose anybody.
I would not have said that.
Yep. Yeah.
Whoops.
Whoops. Yeah. So then you guys make your way out of Captain Blessington's quarters and begin heading towards. I always forget the name of this goddamn bar. Horace Grand's Habits. And you guys make your way to the front, and you can see that on the deck of this ship there is actually what looks to be a doorway that has these wooden planks around it. So as you open it up, you can see that there is a stairwell that just leads down. And going down into the stairwell, you can just see that this is very much a dwarf bar. There are a lot of dwarves in here. There are some humans and a few other races as well. There's a half-orc who's currently in an arm wrestling competition with another dwarf, as well as a half-elf who is just kind of sitting in the corner, just kind of strumming away idly on a lute. But you guys do manage to find an open table. And as you are waiting to kind of come down the stairs and find yourself a table, Cybro just kind of like looks at you and then looks down into the tunnel and just kind of like stands at the top of the steps and like isn't really sure.
Cyber, heal.
And she just sort of like doesn't really want to, and then just kind of tenderly walks down the stairs. She's not a fan of stairs.
Aw.
As we're walking, sorry, Gwen's just gonna ask, so when we go on a boat like to do this stuff, there is zero swimming involved, right?
Yeah,
Unless
that's the
you
point of
go-
having a boat.
All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure, and I didn't want to ask a stupid question.
I mean, not unless you go over.
Why would I go over?
Rough water, monster attack, probably like harpies and sirens and rocks and all that stuff.
If
Pick you up and
if
throw you
we
over.
happen to get boarded and our ship starts to sink,
You gotta go into the water. I mean, there might be dinghies, but there might not be enough room in the dinghies.
Gwen is
Coriander
just
doesn't
staring
seem
off into the
concerned about-
distance.
Yeah, Coriander doesn't seem concerned about Gwen until you say sirens.
Okay, just jam some wax in your ears and cover your eyes.
Right. I'm just gonna go like see if those guys want to arm wrestle.
and I'm gonna like sit next to Caelum at this open table.
Okay. All right.
Caelim's scritching Cybra.
Now, Caelum,
Hmm?
I've been taken out on a lot of missions where things get weird, and we usually don't have a lot of information going in. Thing about that is, people are usually talking in places like this. just listen. You'll probably hear a story or two. The best part is, you don't even have to talk. Most of the time.
Talking part sounds really good.
So can I assist Caelum on an investigation check to see
I would
what...
say this is going to be a perception check. Investigation would be if you were actively communicating with people and trying to get more of a conversation. But if you're just like steadily walking by people in the hopes that they're like, so this one time I was out at sea, like that's going to be more of a perception check.
Okay.
Yeah, Caelum like sits down, perks his ears. I got a 20, not natural.
Okay. So
They were about to lean over to whisper.
yeah, I'm gonna whisper it so only you can hear. So what you end up hearing, just kind of like keeping your ears open, and your elvish hearing does make it a little bit easier. But you find that it's actually a conversation that's happening between the half-elf bard as well as the dwarf that is at the table, as a lot of the conversation that's happening around you is in Dwarvish. Do you speak Dwarvish?
I do.
All right. So yeah, where others would have a more difficult time kind of picking up on things, this is still a lot. But in common, you hear this bard kind of asking of the barkeep, just says, well, there's a new one that I heard from a couple towns over. I was wondering, is it okay if I try it here? And the bartender's like, I don't fucking care. It's like 10 in the morning. You play whatever. Like, he just does not care about the song that's being played. And then, Caelum, you're also kind of listening around and like getting hints and understanding, at least. It's been a while since you've heard a lot of people speaking dwarf very loudly and very fast. But what you end up hearing is that that there is currently a issue with groups of roving pirates between Marisville and the Isle of Arask. It seems like, but the pirates only ever stay. They never get within 6 miles of the coastline of the island proper, as they all fear that the lair of Arask will actually extend out past that point. So the pirates, they don't want to fuck with a dragon who lives over an island if they're fucking with any kind of mercantile goods. But there are small subsets of islands, just little pepperings throughout, none that are larger than a mile wide at most, mostly just sand and seagrass. But these have been used by different pirates as kind of like their coves. And the people that are talking, one of them is saying how he saw with one of these groups of pirates that there were these flying creatures that they had with them that looked like the workers from Arask. He didn't really understand what they were doing this far away from the island. But he wasn't too concerned. Their ship was quick enough that since they were on their return trip, they weren't really carrying much of anything, and the wind was in their favor. But you do hear that there is there is some pirate activity, as well as you hear 1 or 2 mentions of sea elves.
His shoulder throbs a little bit. And I'll relay this information back to Blake.
All right. I mean, it's been a bit since we had a proper fight.
I mean, air quotes, proper.
Against people. It's been a while since we've done civil damage.
Does Cyber know about that? Like, not to go for the jugular immediately?
I'll work on it. hopefully Cori will be able to tell her.
All right. So you guys are kind of figuring out this, just kind of listening in, making sure that everything's good. Cori, what were you doing while Caelum and Blake were like listening around intently for information that might be being spread?
Honestly, I think Cori is watching the bard really intently. Just like trying, like she probably even gets out her little music box recorder thing or thingamajigger, and is fiddling with that the entire time.
Okay. And then Gwen, I would like so you walk up and you see that this half-orc just slams down the arm of a dwarf that he had been wrestling in, and he just and he just rakes in this small pile of coins. And just better luck next time. As he is just kind of folds his arms, grabs another beer that he's been drinking, and just continues to pound it back as this dwarf is just kind of walking off, arm sore from the contest of strength that he was just in. But there does seem to be an opening, and the orc actually opens up his arms, or the half-orc anyways. It says, "Hey, any more takers?" And puts his hands behind his back, just feeling cocky as all hell.
What are you doing? Just a normal arm wrestle?
Just normal arm wrestle.
I mean,
The strongest arms on this ship.
I bet. I could give it a go if you want. Just a little practice for you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just a little practice. You sure you don't need some papers or a large piece of wood underneath your arm to get up to this level?
And he sets his arm down on the table.
You're right. I probably need something. And she's gonna take out just like a book from her bag, or no, I'm not gonna take out the lavender soap. I'll take out the mug and like push it over and put my arm on it.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So, I would like for you to make a strength athletics check against his strength athletics check.
Would this be an advantage with the
No,
axe? No, just regular?
just regular.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little bit of flavor on the axe. You also
Yeah.
become twice as good at arm wrestling.
That's a +4. That's a 5.
Yeah, he just gets your arm real close to the bottom position. It looks like he could easily just knock your wrist off of the upside down mug that you're currently using to kind of maintain. As he had gotten a 14 on his.
That's fine.
So there will be one more contest of strength. And as this contest begins, you begin to actually hear the strumming of a lute in the background. So he gets yeesh.
God damn it, no. That's a 9.
He got an 11.
God damn.
So he just casually forces your arm down, and your mug kind of tilts off to the side. And he begins just laughing to himself, seeming to have done this bout entirely for free, whereas before he had earned some money. And he looks at you and just says,
If you ever want to try again, maybe you could do better with coin on the line.
I think you're right. I think I would like to try again. Why don't we put 5 gold on it?
he just kind of shrugs and says,
All right, 5 gold it is.
tosses out 5 gold pieces that he had earned earlier in his arm wrestling.
Gwen's gonna like crack her neck, and then she's going to like put her hand back down on the put back down on the mug, and then she is going to rage.
Okay.
All right, excuse me, Krieg. Hold on, I'm grabbing dice. Okay, I'm sorry, dude. I gotta roll.
Yeet.
Yeet again. That's a dirty 20.
Okay. Yeah, yours instantly puts his, and like he was not expecting this sudden burst of strength, and he can see the Wilden in your eyes as these tattoos begin to steadily form up your neck.
Yeah.
All right. And he is going to just look at you in confusion.
God damn it. That's a 10.
All right. He got a 24, so he manages to push it back towards the middle, and he just leans in and says to you,
I don't care what kind of magic mumbo jumbo you got, I'm still gonna beat you fair and square.
Gwen's gonna she's getting excited.
Okay.
Like, not like cocky excited, but just like loves this shit.
okay.
That is a 16.
Natural 20.
Damn it. Thought I could hustle this bitch.
Yeah, and so he just manages to, again, just slam your arm down off to the side, and this time your mug kind of spills out a little bit more. And as it rests against the ground, it actually comes up where you can read where it says Talia Stompfoot on the bottom, looking back at you, as that had been engraved onto the mug. And as you are kind of like getting your mug back, and he's just bringing in the 5 gold that you had set out onto the table, you can actually hear the song beginning to pick up, and it begins to play in a very familiar rhythm, almost like it feels very ingrained in you at this point, as you've heard something close to this many, many, many times before. And Caelum, Cori, and Blake, you guys all watch as this bard begins to play your song, The Day the Dragon Came. And that is where we are going to go into our first break of the evening. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody who's decided to stop by and join in on our humble little campaign as we continue our adventure in the port city of Marysville. We are going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes. So don't go nowhere unless it's to grab food, grab a drink, grab a friend, bring them on back, and then we will be here bringing our A game as usual. So don't go no place, and we shall see you soon. All right, everybody.
Bye.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Oh, I was wondering why Connor put on a sweatshirt. That was the most confusing part. Oh, LBs, yours looks real nice. Oh my god. You guys. Look at all of this unofficial merch that we don't have for sale, but we could. It's prototype. We're still workshopping some merch, but soon you too can get an awesome Indoor Adventures, who knows, t-shirt, hoodie, coaster, sticker, a board game. I don't know how we would turn our show into a board game, but there are a lot of weird board games on Kickstarter, and somebody would make it. Yes! I would not be one of the dateable options. I just don't have time. I'm sorry. You seem really nice, but I have 2 campaigns to prepare for. So unless you can help me, this isn't happening. Stop. Yeah. Hey, guys.
Oh, man.
I don't know why I'm like this. So, hey, AudioCast listeners. Sorry for that, 2 minutes of absolute silence that you just experienced. Who knows? I'll probably chop it up for you, but let the people watching the VOD suffer with us. So,
I'm going to change my shirt. It's really hot.
I want to say thank you to all you guys for surprising me with merch and shit, because it means a lot. I love it. Heart hands to you too, JD. But you guys last left off hearing the song "The Day the Dragon Came," the song that was written about you guys, and you hear about how four individuals rolled up into town, and during the festival, there was during the festival, a new king was crowned. And after the crowning had happened, there was the one of the elf adventurers decided to investigate the scene, and in communicating with this ghost, took it into himself, where there was quite the scene as 3 of those 4 beat the 4th into the floor. And that was before the dragon came. And then it just continues on as like this very nice lute piece until eventually it kind of goes playing up into more. In this story, it's not necessarily that they saw the spirit of a dragon, but rather the adventurers seemed to merge into one and turn into a dragon that sailed through the night sky to make it seem more fantastical, all to combat this ghostly spirit that had taken over the town.
It took some liberties. It's okay.
The real dragon was the friends that we made along the way.
Friggin' Cori is just ecstatic that like it has spread this far, and she's like 100% recording this and like trying to like write down the lyrics as they happen, and is trying to convert all of the lute chords into ukulele chords.
Mm-hmm. Just mentally 5,000 miles an hour, just holding up your music box.
At the mention of the spirit going into the person talking to it, Caelum like buries his face into Cyber's fur because he's turned like this very red shade.
Mm-hmm. And,
Gwen
yeah.
is getting really
Pat,
drunk.
Pat.
And Gwen's just getting trashed with her new arm wrestling buddies.
That's not even how the story went. It was ridiculous, dude. It was like we had to beat the shit out of Caelum, and that was hard, but kind of fun. But not in like the fun way when you beat the shit out of people that you don't know, you know?
And as you were saying this, the bard, clutching their lute, actually comes up to you and says, Were you there?
Bitch, I'm one of the 4 in the song. That's me.
Their eyes
And then that's the dragon. Well, kind of. And I point to Blake.
Just mid-patting Caelum.
And just the bard is immediately at your table with what looks to be a binder of parchment out, and they kind of reach into a bag, pull out a ink stopper as well as a quill, and just says, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to get your story and try and get the most accurate representation of the song that I can. As much as I have artistic integrity and I like, flourishing things and making it my own, I also would love to hear if you are the 4. Like, I heard this, I've never heard this song until a couple days ago. Everyone that I've talked to about it said it's true, but I mean, you didn't really turn into a dragon, did you? Like, that's impossible.
And I'll just explain what actually happened. Yeah. No, it's the spirit, I guess. Gwen and I both heard spirits come out of us during the fight.
This bard is just quickly jotting everything down, and looking down, you can see that it doesn't even look like common. This looks very much like their own shorthand that they are writing things in. Until eventually the bard kind of comes to a stop and just, so, point of contention, possessed, and he points towards Cori. Which one was?
No.
Other one. Okay, and then begins to like make note of that as well.
Listen.
Just hear,
We were trying to calm the other spirit. It just felt a little handsy.
You have to put Caelum's name in the song.
No, you don't. It's fine.
No. Talk
I
about
elect to remain anonymous. Request of the person's.
your
that you're writing
friends
about.
said you need to be in a bard song, dude. How are they gonna know if your name's not in it?
I'll pass on this one, thanks, Gwen.
Cool.
All right. So, I mean, to be honest, your name doesn't really have a very nice musical cadence to it. I would
Yeah, no.
probably just end up changing it anyway. So that's fine. If you'd like, any of you can give me a name with which to call you by in the song, if you have any preferences.
I go by many names. Gwen Stompfoot, the Tiny Terror, the Capper.
I'm going to go with the Little Stompfoot.
That sounds perfect, dude.
All right. Anybody else?
Anonymous elf number 2. I know it doesn't have the cadence, but I'm sure you are a bard of some repute and you'll make it work.
I'll do my best. And what about you? The dragon? Do you?
He's just shaking his head.
Just the dragon then. That's fine. I can't really change that part of the song. That's what it's about.
Yeah, it's fine.
Hee. And what of you, fair maiden? Do you wish to have any name other than your own written down in the songs?
Cori is just like buried in her notes right now. And like every now and then she tries to read his notes and like can't make any sense of them and gets really frustrated. So she's just like, she looks at him and like papers fly everywhere. And she's like, oh, this is a big deal. The name. Oh, okay. And she gives him about 20 different ones.
Okay.
It's not like
He's just
call me Cori.
He's just
It could be Cori
hurriedly.
or the Autumn Eladrin. And like she just gives him like 20 different things to go with.
He's writing
It's
them
like, you know what I
all down. Just keeping track. Just we'll fit them in somewhere. Just continue scribing.
The follower of Corlon's footsteps. It's
Duck feeder.
And
Red Biter.
And the bard kind of stops and laughs to himself. And when you say duck feeder, and just okay, just writes that one down too.
Oh God, no! That's the one he's going to choose. Gwen. He just picks her up and starts running.
Ah!
All right, and you guys, and this bard stays with you for a while, just kind of getting as much information about the event as you can, or as he can, and as thanks, he says that he'll tell you whatever he knows about the general area. If you guys have any tales or anything like that you're looking to get told, or if you want, if you're seeking any particular stories he may have picked up on.
So, what have you heard about Arast?
Oh, well, it is a island that about...
Not the island.
Oh! Well, the dragon, I haven't heard much. I mean, it's one of those things, like, you hear very little about very important people when they don't want to have a lot heard about them, but they want you to know who they are. There's lots... Have you ever been to the Isle?
No.
From what I have been told, he has gold statues erected to himself all throughout the island. He has hundreds of thousands of servants that see to his every beck and call. There's lots of nice foliage from what I've heard. Lots of nice plants over there. He has a, from what I've heard, he runs a botanical garden. And just make sure that it's just a thing he likes, really. And that you always want to pay the fee to dock and the fee to sail in his waters. Controls the environment, makes it very pleasant year-round, but if you find yourself there and you haven't paid, or if you've stolen anything, or if you're of ill repute, storms aren't exactly the easiest thing to brave out at sea, especially when the only land for miles and miles around is the one that you just pissed off.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything else?
What kind of sea monsters are there?
Oh, of sea monsters I've heard plenty. There's, well, let's see. Are you looking for sea monsters near us? Sea monsters in general?
Sea monsters near us.
Well, there are a few half-giants that live on the islands around. It's the closest thing that we have to the races of old.
Like Goliaths?
No. Like, have you ever heard of a cyclops?
I mean, I've heard of a cyclops.
Have you seen a cyclops?
Mm-mm.
Well, spawned from some deity and giant in years gone past, cyclopses are quite frankly terrifying. Very, very large creatures. They have a single eye in the middle of their forehead. They like eating a lot. Not particularly smart, but they are very vicious.
How do you kill it?
Points to the axe that's on your back.
She just
Like
gives
you
two
kill most
thumbs up.
things.
Yeah, I can. And she kind of strikes a pose.
Yep. I mean, if the song says anything, you dealt the final blow to a ghost, so
Yeah, I'm pretty cool. I could lift up this table if I wanted to.
your friend is rather in her cups, isn't she?
Yeah, but I guess we wouldn't want her any other way.
Oh, fair enough. Well, if you need me, my name is Barnett, and you can find me, done my evening shift. Suppose I'm going to be playing at the Landlegs now. So if you need any kind of more information, feel free to come on by to the Landlegs Lounge. It's the only tavern on dry land. And then you just call for me. Or
Like chokes on a string.
just, I'll be playing. You can just come and say hello.
Will do, dude.
I sleep in the early evening to late afternoon to early evening. It's business hours. All right, but it was very nice meeting you all, and I will be sure to fashion, and he's kind of sets his papers down on the table to kind of order them, a proper tale that will be sung from here, from Vascor to Shroudport. And I bid you all adieu. And he kind of bows and then just backs up and walks up the stairs that lead out of the bar. And as he does, you can see that the bar owner just kind of like looks at him and just kind of like points to one of the dwarves and like motions towards the stage, and you see that dwarf kind of just like finishes the rest of what they were drinking really quick and then sets up and then begins playing something in the background. And it just seems to be an older dwarven drinking song.
Can Coriander chase him down before he gets too far?
Yep.
Okay. Terribly sorry. I just wanted to ask you, you don't know any stories about Coralon, do you?
Well, I know a few. I mean, I've heard stories. I've heard about the blood of the gods bringing to life the elves, and well, I know that he's.
Yes, who hasn't? But what I'm looking for is stories of him being on the natural plane.
I have not heard any of those. But if you know of any of those, maybe I could pay you for your time. Now, I do have a gig I have to get to. Otherwise they don't pay me if I'm late.
That's fine. I'll consider your offer. Thanks anyway.
He just politely nods and then begins briskly walking off. And as you kind of like watch him walk off a little bit, you actually see that Denzig is on his way up the planks outside, and the Denzig just kind of passes the bard and just kind of looks at him and just shakes his head, continues on, and then sees you and just, all your friends in there?
Yes.
All right. I have my proposition. And he begins just making his way up towards you.
All right. Well, let me walk you in.
And you kind of like...
Coriander.
I was going to say, you also notice, having come up above deck for the first time in a while, that several hours have passed since you guys actually actually went in and began drinking and then talked to this bard, heard the song. And so his coming is not exactly, it's not unprecedented. Right. He just kind of makes his way to you and just says, all right, well, follow me, I suppose, unless you'd like to go first. I mean, this stairwell's only wide enough for one person at a time.
Oh, after you.
Thank you. And then he begins to make his way down into the bar. And so the rest of you, while Cori has gone off and chased after this bard, are you just talking amongst yourselves? Alrighty. So yeah, you guys talk amongst yourselves, just kind of like, oh my god, a bard just knew who we were because of a song. This is so weird. Eventually, you guys see Cori tailing Denzig coming down the stairs into Horsgrand's habits. And he just kind of looks around a little bit, and then it's not hard trying to find 3 or 2 at least of the tallest people in this bar, one of which being Blake, the other being Caelum. And he begins to make his way over towards you until eventually he sits down at the table, so that way he can kind of look at the 3 of you guys that are sitting at the table. Gwen, did you decide to come and sit back at the table, or are you still talking and drinking amongst your friends?
I will, if once the bard was talking to us, she moved back to the other table, and she was getting up with her glass and saw Cori come back with the guy, and she kind of put her glass back down and like tried to look unassuming, like, you know, look natural.
I'm not drunk right now.
I'm not drunk, you're drunk.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so then Denzig sits down and sets his elbows on the table. Well, I hope you've all been having a good time. This is the best bar in Marysville, so that's why it's got the bow of the ship. But you didn't come here to talk about the quality of drink. You came here to talk about contracts. So, I have 3 people. 2, really. I don't like the third option, but it'll do. If that ends up being your situation. So, what we have, and he sets down 3 contracts, or like descriptions anyways. What we have here is one of my preferred contacts, Captain Oliviette Rezacairn. She's a drow woman. She operates a tight ship and makes sure that everything gets to where it needs to go by the time it needs to get going. Sometimes her ship does come with a little bit more holes in it than it left, but she has a spirit of adventure. She's a good first mate, Haven't really talked to him much, but I've been going with Oliviette for years now. And then there is going to be Captain Scram, who operates a very small ship, single sail, lizard folk, as his first mate, named Zakir. I don't know what's up with their relationship. I don't ask. And then the third option is if you go through the trading company, the Keshin Trading Company. It operates all along the coast. Make sure goods get to where they need to get going. It's one of the largest ships that we got, but I don't really like Harland. His name is Captain Harland Farlow. He's a human. He's just in it for the money. He doesn't have any real love of the sea. So what you're looking at here is Captain Harland. He's got lots of men already with him. He's got 3 sails. And he can just take you straight to Arask. No questions. I don't really want to have him be the one officiating my trade, but yeah, it'll do. Personally, I would prefer Oliviette, but...
On the contracts, is there any other information that would be pertinent to us, like, aside from ship size, like armaments on the ship, like...
None of these ships have armaments.
But...
Yes. You see that the ship, the 3-mast ship that is being piloted by Captain Farlow, that it has a rotating ballista on the front, but it doesn't actually have any cannons or any like heavy firearms built onto the ship.
And do they list off like track records for each, or is it just like we're going off the captain's word?
Yeah, kind of just going off both the captain and the merchant's word.
I mean, if you have a preference for who we should sail with, we might as well, right?
Well, I figured I would at least present some options. One of these captains is a halfling, so I figured maybe your halfling friend might have some weird connection with it. That's Captain Scram.
Gwen like starts to say something and then she just kind of like pulls herself back and takes another drink.
I think maybe going with your friend Olivia, if that would be agreeable.
She owes me a favor. Ship's 2 sails. I mean, it's bigger than Captain Scram, so shouldn't be too bad.
It's a decent middle ground.
And she's great. All intents and purposes. Gets the job done. Doesn't ask too many questions. Occasionally, some pirates try and swarm her ship. She just captures the pirates, turns them in when she gets to port. Seems pretty easy.
And that's where we would come in.
Yes. She is a merchant, first and foremost. Adventurer second, although you ask her, she might stylize herself a little bit differently. But she has a merchant-oriented crew. They don't know how to fight. They know how to sail. That's it. So, I've talked with her. She's willing to give you 4 board on her ship to send you to Arask. Once you reach there, it's not my fucking problem. But she owes me a favor, so she's going to be going there to do my dealings.
And she'll be handling your contract and everything, okay? Fine.
Again, I would prefer her over Captain Scram and also over Captain Farlow, but all 3 of these people owed me something. I have a lot of money from owning a mine. Use.
How much are we getting paid for this?
For going across the sea, it's going to be about a 5 days journey. I could do... If nothing happens, you'd each get 15 gold per day. If something does happen, it's 25.
Per day that things happen, or per day per day?
It's going to be per day. Because you
Right.
have to stay on alert all day.
As for that price, would that be for hiring this adventuring party,
So
this adventuring company, or would this be a per individual basis?
this is a per individual basis. Because that way, if one of you ends up dying while you're out at sea, I don't have to pay up that much money. It's easier to hire per worker than per party, unless you'd prefer to get paid per party.
You chose to do business with us. Your terms.
All right. You said that you were the 4 keeps?
Yes.
It's 4 of you. 25 gold. 100 gold a day. 500. Shit. Well, I already said that I was going to pay you one way, and I don't feel like going back on my word.
All right.
So, 15 if things end up going smoothly. 25 if they don't. So, how that's going to work is that I'm going to give you vouchers. You're going to take those vouchers. At the end of your journey, you are going to get Olivia to sign off on those vouchers, and then you are going to go to the central bank. Once you have gone to the central bank, hand them those vouchers, and then you will get paid accordingly.
All right.
Seems easier than me just carrying around way too much money and making myself a target.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, Oliviette lives in the... She lives in the northeastern ships. It's where she has her base of operation. Ship is pretty easy to find. It's called Midnight Dancer. So,
Okay.
just start looking for Midnight Dancer. Give her this. He reaches into his cloak pocket and he pulls out another piece of paper and hands it to you, and it has a wax seal on the front that looks like a dwarf's skull that then kind of comes down into this long handle that has a little triangle at the bottom. If you just give this to her, let her know that it is me who sent you. She'll get you on that boat, and you guys can have it your way to the Isle as thanks.
All right. And do you have an idea of when she would want to be heading out?
Personally, I would appreciate it if you all headed out as soon as possible, considering that it's my trade deal that's on the line, but she'll probably want to wait at least until morning. She prefers sailing during the day, even though she has that light sensitivity thing. I don't really care. She's good for her word.
All right. Unless there was anything else, we'll start heading that way.
And he kind of just slaps the table and says, sounds like it's all agreeable. Now, I'm going to go take care of your bar tab, so anything after this point, that's on you. But I can send over some food. So it looks like you've all just been drinking all day and not actually eating anything.
That doesn't sound like us at all.
And so Denzig bids you farewell and then begins walking over. And after you see him leave, and after about 15 minutes of him disappearing, you guys get a plate of, it looks like a plate of vegetables as well as just some salted meats.
Caelum's gonna hold up the emblem and history check. See if you recognize it.
Sure.
17?
Yep. Okay, so with your 17, you would know that this symbol is often found from dignitaries from Surt's Hellier.
Huh.
From the Dwarf Kingdom to the north.
Everyone looks like they're like just drinking. He goes, "Yeah, I'll save it for later." And he picks up some vegetables and starts shoveling it into his face.
All right, what are we gonna do for the rest of the day?
Well, we need to go talk to this captain and possibly pay. We had to do something about our horse.
We could sell the horse,
But old Bess,
and we could buy her back when we get back.
wasn't there a deal for stabling our horse here for more than a couple of nights? It was like 25 silver for a bunch of nights.
I don't know. That was a long time ago, dude.
That was yesterday.
Gee.
Let's go talk to Matthew about it and decide whether or not it's going to be worth stabling here. Stabling her if we're even going to want to come back to this place.
We'll do that.
Okay.
Do you think Cybra is gonna be okay on the boat? You're a good girl, and I'm just gonna go.
She just lets you do the face smooshies.
We'll work on it.
Keep her below deck.
I bet you will. All right, bitches. And then she slams her hand on the table, and then she just walks out.
All right, so we're going to Matthew.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you guys find your way back to the stables, and it's really not that difficult, as there is a large central lane that actually leads up to the merchant captain's ship. So you end up making your way back. It takes maybe like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It's really not that bad. And as you get there, you see that Matthew is actually not there. It seems to be somebody who looks similar to Matthew. If Matthew had like de-aged maybe 2-3 years. He says, "Oh, can I help you?"
Matthew, buddy.
"Oh, I'm Jonas. Matthew's my brother."
What?
"I'm
I'm
Jonas.
sorry. You're Jonas?
I'm
the brother?
Jonas. No, Matthew's my
Jonas,
brother."
the Jonas brother. Okay.
Okay.
God damn it. Yeah, we're gonna, like, we want to house our horse here for a little while. How much does that cost?
How long are you looking to stable your horse?
Like,
At the very earliest, like 12 days, but probably a bit more than that.
Okay. Starts counting it out. So it's 3 gold per night. 12 days, or 2 silver, sorry. It's monies. Look, I am recently fresh out of a level 20 campaign. We were throwing around platinum. It's the fact that it's like, oh right, things cost silver. What is this useless currency?
It is
what is this
24
electrum? What?
We don't talk about Electrum.
24 silver for 2 days. 12
Yes.
days.
And he is willing to cut that down to 20, as you guys are going to be keeping your horse stabled for an extended period of time.
Excellent. I'll hand him 2 gold pieces.
Okay. Yeah, and he just sort of takes it and then walks over and sets it into a wooden, like a little wooden slot box that seems to be attached to a post. Is there anything else I can help you with? What are you going to do about about your cart? Do you need anything from there?
We need the ale.
We do need the ale.
Gwen like climbs in there and grabs the bucket or the barrel and is just walking around with it.
No, I think that's all we need. Thank you.
All right, well, have a good day. He just kind of waves at you guys.
Goodbye, smaller Matthew.
Mini Matt. And then we're going to the Midnight Dancer.
Okay. So yeah, make a survival check as you guys wander around the boats for a while.
Oh, me closer, midnight dance.
As an 18.
Caelum
14.
almost walks off a pier.
All right, so
Gotcha.
Gwen also walks off the pier.
I'm going to say at the beginning, when we were describing the town, nets have been placed over any place where people could possibly fall through. So you guys go to fall off the pier, but then are just like caught in this net. And like kind of right
Spiders!
yourself.
Spiders!
And as both of you do, having fallen into these 2 individual nets, you see this one dwarf kind of walk by, shaking his head, saying, "Out of towners," and then continues going.
Tourists.
And then, so you got an 18, Cori? And then, Blake, you got a 14?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so with the 2 of you, based off of the information that you were given by Denzig, it doesn't actually take you long to find the Midnight Dancer. It takes about 30-45 minutes or so to actually get there. And when you do, because again, you're just navigating through these very tight gangplanks and boat boards to kind of get to each other. And you end up passing by several shops along your way that you recognize as something more than just a residential. You see one listed as Sunken Treasures. And then you also see that there is one that is listed as the Keshin Trade Co. And then you just continue kind of making your way until you see that there is this 2-masted ship that looks like the sails have not been unfurled yet. They still are raised high. But there are there are a small number of human and half-elves that are busy kind of carrying crates onto the ship. And you can even see that there is one Kenku that is kind of like helping out carry boxes as well. And then that is when you guys see, standing on top of the aft castle, this very nice looking, almost in the same way that Captain Blessington's coat looked, where it was a blue. Hers is a very nice red color that has these kind of golden buttons that are along the sides of it. And you can see that there are decorative cords that are kind of laced over her shoulders. And this drow woman who has very short white hair that's kind of cropped into more of a bob has this very large hat on. And you can see that this hat is keeping a lot of the sun out of her face currently. And she seems to be directing people of places where to go. And you can see that there is just this large plume that's kind of sticking out of the hat as well. And her hat is just this same color as her red coat. And you see that there is a human man that's kind of standing near-ish her that also seems to be giving directions.
Holy shit. She's gorgeous.
All right, so I'm only going to say this once. You bring that box over there and you place it there. Otherwise, things are not going to be stacked properly.
Except for the captain.
This is the captain who is yelling this.
No, I was talking to Gwen.
Oh, okay.
And she's like,
I mean,
She's gorgeous.
the captain, dude. I don't really go for humans, but like, she is pretty.
She's a drow.
So,
You said you don't go for humans, but she's. I think there's some miscommunication that just happened. Captain.
And if you could, hail and well met. Come aboard. She just kind of like motions up to a gangplank that's leading up onto the dock of the ship, or onto the onto the deck, the deck of the ship,
About to be a Freudian slip up in this bitch.
onto the dick of the ship. There, are you happy? All about ship dicks and butts. There. Yep.
come on, we hold this channel to a higher standard than that.
Not anymore. It's ruined.
Mature content.
This is my ship. Boat, you make a boat face? And the captain just begins kind of walking down towards you, and she has a rapier at her side. Looks
Blake's gonna pull out the contract.
So. Were you the four Denzig was talking about?
Yes, the Four Keeps Adventuring Company. Supposed to be traveling with you.
Sounds good to me. Let me see this real quick to help verify. And she ends up taking the document from you, and you see her just kind of like reach into her belt and pulls out a small knife and just kind of slices open the letter. So that way the sealing wax is broke, and then she looks inside and begins reviewing it. Four Keeps Adventuring Company, based out of any kind of city or freelance?
More
Freelance.
freelancers.
Freelance is fine. Okay, so I am seeing four contracts. So, I will make sure that by the time that we arrive in Ratsk, you all get paid properly. This is the goal, no?
Super
yes.
cool.
Right, so what I can offer you is room on my ship. We have enough rations that we should be able to feed you. So if you are looking to eat our food, you are more than welcome. If you have a restricted diet or any kind of restrictive eating habits, I will not be ashamed if you stick to your own rations. As for alcohol, we have grog. Keeps the water from, turning bad.
Looks at Gwen.
We also have alcohol, but be warned, it is very strong.
How strong is this alcohol? And you see just
went
kind of this coy
blind.
smile.
She points at Caelum. He went blind. Like, legitimately woke up the next day still blind.
That is something that, well, you don't see every day. One,
That was.
I am more referring to your two friends. You seem like you're very far away from home. She kind of looks at Caelum and Cori.
Yeah.
I like to think I carry home in my heart.
I
Gwen
understand.
just turns and looks at her like, dude, we're trying to be cool here. Do you mind?
And the captain,
He was being cool.
the captain will actually reach out and place a hand on your shoulder. And she says, I understand. Even when I was born underground, I knew that my heart lied on the sea. So, here I am. She raises her hands up and kind of like twists around a little bit to just kind of enjoy the salt air that seems to be surrounding her.
About what time would you want to start heading out?
Well, we are going to need to spend most of the day getting all of the supplies onto the ship. We aren't going to be carrying any excess passengers, so you don't have to worry. It's just going to be me and my crew. So, yes, if you'd just like to come by first thing tomorrow morning, then we can get going. Otherwise, if you would like to spend the night here, we will probably take off without you even knowing. Just first thing in the morning. You could have dinner with me? You seem to have brought some fine spirits that have the potential to make people blind, which I'm very curious about.
Stone blind in the morning.
So,
Of course, it would only be polite. You're okay with us bringing the wolf, right?
oh yes, animals, I do not care if you bring animals. Just, there is one condition. You pick it up.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know what
got
that means. The poop has to go somewhere. An animal does
Also
not
the
know how to
Poop
use.
deck, would you say?
I
You
pat
know-
Cori's shoulder.
For some reason, everyone always associates the poop deck with fecal matter. It's not true. It's just where we get the most shit done.
Ah. Speaking of, for those of us who have never been on a voyage such as this, do you have anything that we should know?
And Olivia just kind of like squats down so that way she's eye level with you. Do you get seasick?
I have no idea.
This is going to make for either a very fun or a very long journey for you.
All right, I'm down.
Have you ever been on a boat for longer than a few hours?
No, but I did ride a Goliath across the plains for a day.
That sounds incredible. I'd like to hear more about this. But
Well,
I will tell you this. Our trip is very easy. From here to Arask, there's not a whole lot of problems that ever seem to come up. It's very quick. It's very boring. To me, anyways. But I owe Denzig a favor. He funded my ship after I got a hole in the last one.
from pirates?
So, when you see pirates and you think, oh, their ship looks pretty cool, you have a tendency to yell out ramming speed at the ship you are currently on and see if you can take them down.
That sounds actually exactly what I would do.
This ship, however, we have fitted the front with steel reinforcements
Yeah.
to make sure that if we ram into another ship, minimal damage to our own.
I'm kind of concerned about our choices now.
I am not.
And then the captain will stand up and kind of straighten her jacket out a little bit and just, so, it is getting towards the end of the day. If you'd like, you have spirits, I have food. Do you have anything else that you need to bring with you?
No, I don't think so.
How would you all mind joining me for dinner?
That
sure.
would be lovely.
I usually get to know my crew members a little bit first before we end up sailing together, but if this is going to be a one-time thing, I'd like to at least get to know each of you a little bit more beforehand, if that is okay.
Yeah, totally down, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it
Sounds
seems
lovely.
like
Right. And she motions up with a hand and just says, Dalcor, take care of everything else. I'm going to have dinner. He just kind of like waves and nod. She just kind of like brushes her hands off and says, all right, if you will follow me to my quarters. And she ends up taking you guys into the aft castle. And then kind of in the same general layout that the central ship, the Blessed Bee, was actually kind of located in while you guys are maneuvering through this aft castle. It has the same general layout. And she takes you back into the dining quarters that's been set up. So where Captain Blessington had originally had this large mat out showing the with all of these tiny little representations of each of the different ships, you can see that Oliviette has what looks to be a drawing easel set up in one corner of the room that has what looks to be just some pieces of graphite kind of set out next to it, and what she was drawing lately was a setting sun, just kind of doing it in her passing time. And as she sits down, she begins moving, or before she sits down, she begins to kind of rush around the room and just pull out chairs and then clear things off of one chair that she had been using as a shelf in the meantime, and just kind of set some papers and a book or two on the floor until eventually there are 5 chairs that are now available to kind of sit around this large table. And she says, Dalco knows that I am going to be getting food soon. He is going to be sending it in. There's going to be a lot of seafood. I hope you don't mind. It's my personal preference. If you have something else, now would be the time to say anything. If you, again, dietary restrictions is going to be difficult on this ship, but we try our best to make it do.
I mostly eat vegetables, but I'll try anything once.
And when you say that, she just gets this very wide smile and says, "That is the man I like to hear," and kind of like punches you in the shoulder. So, where is this this blinding intoxicant you have brought onto this ship? Speaking of trying anything once.
Right. Are you sure you want to have this before dinner?
That is a good point. And yes.
All right. I like the cut of your jib. And she kind of places the barrel on a chair, gets her mug out, and pours 2 servings of it in there. Does anyone else want any?
No.
I mean, no, thank you.
Cori?
Oh, why not?
Sweet. Pours another serving and then pours it into glasses.
All right. And so, yeah, as you guys are sitting down and getting ready to kind of get into your drinks, that is when you see the door open up once again. And the human man that you had seen being Dalcor, the first mate, he ends up coming in with 2 of the other crew members. And he just says, looks like somebody's lucky enough to dine with the captain tonight. It's good to meet all of you. And he just kind of like sets the tray that he brought in front of the captain. And then the other workers set their trays in front of you 4.
Thanks, dude. I'm Gwen, by the way.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm sure we'll probably get to know each other a lot better over the next coming days. But if you don't mind, the ship still needs to be taken care of just a little bit more.
Cool.
Smidgen.
Right.
And then you see him back off with the small group, with his small repertoire. And as he does, Olivia just sort of laughs to herself and then looks at her tray of food as the food that he had brought had like a small little metal covering over it, and she takes it off. And underneath is what looks to be, it looks to just be a very nice, it's a tuna, I think I would want to say, in this general area. I'm trying to think of like fish ecology and and I was not a fish and wildlife person, but she ends up having a very nice tuna laid out for her. And it seems like it's kind of just broken up. And as you guys look on all of your trays as well, you can see that in front of Blake, rather than being a fish, is a lobster that's kind of just set down on his tray. Gwen, you also received a lobster. Caelum, you saw that yours was a fish that had kind of been baked over some vegetables, and Cori, you also get a fish that has been baked over some vegetables as well.
So is there like a chef on this boat?
For the most part, yes. I mean, we take turns. This was Dalcor's day. There's a reason I made him my first mate.
Nice.
You cook?
Fair
Well-
warning now. Gwen and I should not cook.
Hey, I make great bacon.
My burn marks say otherwise.
That was not my fault.
Well, on this ship, as I have said, all of our food is going to be taken care of. So enjoy yourselves. But I mean, don't go overboard, like eating, 5 to 6 times the amount of rations. I don't know how you would fit that in your stomach. You all look. Maybe him, and she points towards Blake. Maybe he could do it. He seems rather large, but the rest of you, I just don't see it happening. I'm sorry. Now, she jams a fork into her plate of food. So, tell me a little bit about yourselves. This Four Keeps adventuring company that is not centered out of anywhere in particular. I've not really heard of you before this, but apparently Denzig knows of you, at least thinks of you highly enough to send you on my ship.
Yeah, we sort of took care of something that killed his partner, and it's mine.
Yeah, that would do it. And she just jams her fork into the fish again and just continues to eat. And you see her take her hat off and kind of set it down on a chair, so it's just kind of hanging off. And her hair is just cut very short. It's a very stark white. And you can just see that she just has what look to be a very, very, very dark brown, almost black as her actual eye color.
This person is just reminding me of Danae.
Your DMs find inspiration anywhere.
Yes. Yeah, I can see how it would remind you of me.
So we all met up in Shroudport. I'm from the north. I traveled with a Goliath herd for a while. The Tread Thunder Horde. Blake is a blood hunter of sorts.
Ooh, blood hunter.
Mm-hmm. And then Caelum grew up in a monastery and went adventuring with some friends, and then he came with us. Cori's from the Feywild. She is here temporarily for reasons.
More or less.
All right. That sounds pretty incredible. Not going to lie. I want to know more about this Feywild, if possible. But I mean, every young elvish girl hears about the Feywild, and your fantasy just kind of trails off. So I'd love to hear all about what it was actually like. I have not yet had the opportunity or luck to go there myself yet, but maybe one day.
I would love to share some stories, so long as you trade some stories about the Underdark. I've, of course, heard about it, but, I would like to hear from a native.
Yeah. Once these drinks start flowing, who knows what we shall get into. And she takes the glass. So, to new companions?
Yep.
It's a water.
Yep.
Cheers.
She will cheers with you as well.
Oh, Jesus.
Cori, take a 19.
You bastard.
Amazing. And after the captain takes her drink, she sets it back down onto the table and just does so very quickly and just that is very rough going down.
I told you.
But it's very good. What do you call that?
That is the
Moon something?
It's moonwax.
Moonwax.
Yes.
Well, tell whoever made this moon wax that they did an excellent job.
Well, thank you. Next time.
And you can
I
see
meet
that there's a
you-
little bit of red creeping into her cheeks.
I rolled a 16, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, so you and Cori are feeling fine, but this pirate not pirate. She's just dressed to look as such. I am so sorry. Please, for the love of God, I will, for 20 levels, for the rest of this campaign, Olivia is not a pirate. No.
Or that's what he says.
Right? DM.
We know about your NPCs.
Yep. During the sunset session of this campaign, I'm gonna throw in just be like, and Olivia was a pirate the rest of her days. The end. Okay, moving on. See you guys for the next campaign.
She went to the Feywild and she was a pirate there.
Yeah.
No!
So,
Don't you mean?
this has been wonderful. You all seem very nice. If you like, I can show you to your rooms, at least where you will be staying. We do not have very private quarters, so you'll probably at least get to know a little bit more about the crew. Until then, can I help you with anything else? 'Cause,
When, like, and then she's like, no, just, where we're going to be staying is great.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Do you have... May I have one more for the road?
Of course. I'll have one with her.
Okay. So yeah, Olivia is going to take another drink. She likes this stuff.
Oliviette, if you find yourself less sighted than you were before, visit Caelum and I, and we'll see what we can do about that.
Sounds like a promise. And then she ends up taking her drink, and it goes by a little bit smoother for her. She knows what to expect this time around, and so she just has, like, after the shot or after the drink is taken, just okay. This is very strong. This is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Fire and boats do not mix. Never mind. I was going to say, somebody had fire powers. You could probably light my breath on fire. But
It is pretty hot.
inside the ship, I understand.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Pro-
you know what? If you
it
just
sounds like a bad idea.
tell us where to go, you can just hang out.
I can take you. It's no problem.
All right.
And she stands up and, like, has to, like, put her hand on the table a little bit to, like, keep herself steady. And then she eventually begins to lead you guys. And she, as soon as she gets to the door, she takes a very deep inhale in, exhale, kind of straightens her coat a little bit, grabs her hat, puts it back on, and then walks out of the doors. And begins leading you guys down a set of stairs into the hull of the ship. And you can see that there are a bunch of hammocks that have been set out. You guys don't actually have a room that you can sleep in, but this does look like space enough for at least 10 people to sleep in comfortably. Which would be the 4 of you, as well as the workers, as well as the other crew members that were on the ship as well. And you know that the captain herself has her own private quarters, and then her first mate also has his own private quarters. One of the perks of being a first mate. And so she lets you off in the crew's quarters, says, is there anything else that you would like to ask of me? And she kind of points towards Cori again and says, if you would like to swap stories later, you know where my cabin is. And then she kind of just turns on her heel and then walks off.
Bye.
She seems nice.
She does.
Okay.
Caelum, do you want to call Moonin?
Yeah. Better time as any, I guess. and Caelum will draw. Actually, no. I could dismiss him into my pocket dimension and then make him reappear as an action. Yeah. So Caelum just like claps his hands together. There's like a small popping sound somewhere off in his brain. And then he claps again, and then Moonin appears in like a small flash of light.
Okay. And with that pop of light, as well as the auditory sound of Moonin appears in front of you, and you can just see that they have a little bit more of a tummy than they had when you had sent them off. And you can see that there is what looks to be a blue collar around Moonin's neck that looks like it has a small metal bead on it. And Moonin just looks at you and then kind of like walks over and brushes its side against you and stretches out its wings, and then walks over to Cori, and then sits in front and bats the little metal ball on its neck.
I will take the metal ball.
Okay.
Or, try to grab it.
Yeah, no, and Moonin just lets you take it, and as you pull it off, the collar actually comes off with it, until eventually you see Moonin just kind of like shake out a little bit, brings up a hind leg, and just starts scratching at this freshly available scritchy spot along the neck. And looking at the collar, you kind of flip it around, and on the inside of it, you read squeeze between thumb and forefinger.
I do this.
All right. So with the metal ball, you squeeze it. And you see in a very vibrant blue light, it just kind of shoots out in a almost triangular arc from this small metal ball. And when it does, you hear, well, I hope you don't mind, but I've packed you some snacks along with your old songbook, and are you thinking of becoming a traveling bard? You were always so incredible during your performances. It would only make sense that and you see that you're a representation of your dad is just there, like, looking at this, just looking, like, out of the projection. And he seems to be maintaining an eye contact with you. But as you, like, move your head away, you can see that he is just looking dead ahead, almost like this is a recording of some sort. And you can see that Moonin, along with it, had actually brought this small bundle with him. And your dad continues, "You were always so incredible during your performances. It would only make sense that you..." Yug, she has a job to do. You remember that, right? And you see, like, the camera kind of, like, shifts over a little bit, and you just see... The rest of you can all see this as well, where there is this, as Cori has described herself in her spring form, this kind of like pinker skin Eladrin with these goggles that are resting on his forehead, as well as a little bit of oil that seems to be smeared on a chin underneath an eye patch, as just like gladly talking into this recording. And the figure that is standing next to him is this very regal looking summer form Eladrin. This very large collection of hair that seems to be tied back as tightly as it possibly can, but it is just exploding out of the back, almost making it seem like there is just its own personal sun around the head of Cori's mother. And the father just kind of like coyly looks at Cori's mom and says, yes, I know, but Cori, I love you so much, and I can't wait to meet your friends. From how you describe them, they all sound so beautiful, and I would love to talk to every single one of you. All right? Your mother and I love you very much, and winter is the same as when you were here, cold but currently unmoving. And if you start to notice any changes, find a circle and have your friend's creature give us a report. And I would really love to meet whoever made this creature. I've never seen magics like the way that you described your letter before, so I would very much like to. And then you see that your mother's eyes just get deeper red, and the hair begins to just start growing up bigger and bigger and bigger. And he said, and your father continues, and just kind of like peeks a glance and tries continuing and peeks again and just, maybe another time when we aren't recording, huh? Safe travels, and may Coralon's smile be upon you always. And you hear your mother. We love you very much, Cori. And then you see the recording just gone, and you have the small metal bead in your hand.
Cori is just beaming from ear to ear, and she's gonna look over at Caelum, and you can see that like she's almost like brimming with tears from how joyful she is right now, and then she's just gonna silently hug him.
Yeah, Caelum smiles back at her, pats her on the back.
Blake, do you speak Elvish?
No.
Gwen, do you speak Elvish? All of this was
oddly enough. No, I don't.
All of this was a lot of gibberish to you. It sounded like elf speak, but you could kind of get some of the mannerisms, you suppose. But then after this message stops playing and you see the image kind of fade back down, Cori then silently goes over and gives Caelum a hug.
Were those your parents?
Yes,
They seem great.
they are. And she's going to take that little bead and kind of like tuck it away somewhere special.
Oh. Well, good to see that worked.
You see Moonin walk over to this package that's kind of on the ground and grab at a piece of twine and just begin pulling it back. Until eventually the twine just unwraps and you see that there are what look to be 5 individually wrapped. Cori, you would know that these would be your dad's sweets. That he seems to have packed you 5 sets of cookies as snacks to send you back on, as well as what looks to be a very old and kind of weathered songbook.
I will distribute said sweets to everyone. Just like, oh, he baked cookies. Oh my gosh, this is so nostalgic for me.
Caelum takes
And
a
like
bite
she's
of one.
gonna, yeah, she'll like stuff one in her cheek while she gets out her songbook and starts flipping through it, and just kind of jabbering and being all like, oh look, it's this one song. Oh, this is the one that talks about Coralon.
They all
okay.
talk about Coralon.
Gwen kind of looks at Blake like, this is weird, right?
What the hell is a cookie?
Oh,
How crunchy are these cookies? Are they like good crunchy or are they stale crunchy?
They are not crunchy, they are chewy. They are a large cookie, and as you bite in, your teeth just sort of like, it seems almost like they gently sink in regardless of how hard you chew. And as you bite in, there is a hint of, kind of tastes like molasses a little bit.
those are fucking delicious.
Yes, well, Father did dabble in cookery for a good long while.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to process. Yeah, that's a word. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I had a moment.
What are you processing?
Nothing. Moonin has to go on a diet.
Just meow. He knows what you said.
Moonin has to go on a diet.
He can probably spell.
Cyber needs a BATH.
You know prestidigitation, don't you? Oh,
Wrong
Okay.
character.
Wrong character.
Shit.
I could create water and we could just use the lavender soap to make Cyber smell of lavender.
Not use that on a dog, but Gwen doesn't know that, so.
It's a fantasy world where anything could happen.
Gwen would want to pull Caleb aside before they go to sleep. If we're getting there.
Yeah, your guys' night is going on. You can do whatever you would like to fill your evening before bedtime.
Hey, Caleb, can I chat with you for a second?
Hey, what's up, Gwen?
So I just wanted to say I'm sorry for getting you a lady of the night and trying to get you laid.
I thank you for the offer and sending her with me, and thank you again for respecting my personal boundaries. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just I grew up in a society that kind of frowned upon, I didn't really know what sex was in the real terms. I knew where babies came from and all that sort of stuff, but when I finally got out of that society and I was not sheltered anymore, I kind of felt dumb and I really wanted to explore things like that, but I understand that not everyone is like that, so I see that now. I just wanted to let you know that.
Caelum nods his head and pats Gwen. Baby steps.
Right. Because I know you were sheltered too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, cool.
Good night.
Good night, Caleb.
Fist bump.
And you guys just kind of curl up in your hammocks.
Oh, Caleb's on the floor.
All right, so Caelum's on the floor. And then Cori and Blake, are you guys going to be meditating? Or is Cori going to be meditating in a hammock or sitting on the floor?
Cori's probably actually going to go up on deck and meditate up there.
Okay. And Blake, are you just going to be sleeping in a hammock?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. So you guys all just kind of gear down for your evening. And we'll say that the conversation between Gwen and Caelum happened after Blake had kind of passed out. So it was just this very whispered, kind of sitting on these hammocks until eventually all right, we cool? Yeah. Fist bump. Good night, bro. Don't really know how to end your own conversation. But that is where we are going to call it for tonight. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody who stuck with us through our Monday night extravaganza adventure. It's not really an extravaganza, but it always feels that way because goddamn, do I appreciate these groups of people. Speaking of the people that I appreciate, RJ, where can we find you? What do you do?
Oh, hey, I'm RJ here on the channel, or RJustice282 on Twitter and Twitch, where you could find me tweeting about the nerdy things in my life. Or on Tuesday as your boy Hubris, our warlock, and currently in the doghouse, Tiefling. Yeah. You could also find me on the, oh god, I keep forgetting the date, 26th, next week, oh dear, on Pro Restarter's channel, where we're going to be playing Monster of the Week.
Nice. We love you, Pro. Thank you for taking in a lot of my players, and then me also wanting to take some of your players because you got cool people on your channel. Not take them, just borrow. I'll give them back. Next up, LB, where can we find you? What do you do?
Hi, I'm LB, and this is Krieg. He's been with us all night, just chilling on my lap and on the table. For those of you audiocast listeners, he is a quite chubby orange tabby who likes to stretch out his toes every once in a while and give me nuzzles. But I am here Mondays and Tuesday nights. Tuesdays I play Ghost, the cleric, blood hunter, shifter, who has put Hubris in the doghouse. Well, he put himself in the doghouse, let's be honest. And then starting this week on Sunday, I'm going to be in Encounter Roleplays game of Fate, where we're going to be playing superheroes. It'll be super cool. And then hopefully my glasses will be in by then because props. And then next week, Friday, I will be starting in Pro Restarter's channel doing friggin' Bloodlines game. Bloodright. Thank you.
Birthright.
Birthright. Yes, that's it.
I got
Sorry.
blood on the mind.
Sorry, Bloodright is my thing.
Right. My bad.
It's Tuesday brain.
And I'm going to be playing a Captain of the Guard princess type character for that. So, yeah.
Excellent. And Cyberwolf, where can we find you? What do you do?
Oh, hi. You can find me, first off, on the Twitters at Cyberwolf1, where I post pretty much everything that I'm doing and just what comes to my mind at random points of the day. I'll usually post there whenever I'm going to be streaming on my own channel, twitch.tv/Cyberwolf1201. I hope I'm pointing at this.
You are.
Where I play video games badly and talk about lore. We are going to be moving on to some new stuff because we just finished Pokemon. And I'm going to try to also stream on Tuesday nights, try to get some extra days, but yeah, you should tune into that. But for more RPG stuff, you can obviously find me here. And then for one more week, you can find me on Saturdays on Pro Restarter's channel.
Dragon Knights is so fucking good. God damn it. It's such a good game.
Later in the month, I think starting on the last day of the month, you will be able to find me on another game and another day on Pro Restarter's channel, where I will be playing some D&D as a kiddo. I have no idea what kind of kiddo yet, but you'll be able to see me there with some really cool people. And then check out Open for Adventure. They're another 5th edition D&D stream. They stream tonight as well, but check out their VODs because they're cool.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, if you want to watch them live and catch up on the audio cast, there are lots of places you can catch up on our audio cast. And of course, Danae, where can we find you? What do you do?
You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. It's where I keep my portfolio because I do all kinds of nerdy drawings. I also do commissions if you would like those. And I do drawings for pretty near every session that we play, including this one, which I'll post and you can go and see it there. DanaeKeener.com.
I'm so excited. And I'm the Indoor Adventurer. If you have made it this far, you probably already knew that, but in case you didn't, all of the varieties of places that you can find me are Podbean, indooradventures.podbean.com, anchor.fm/indooradventures. There's youtube.com/indooradventures, or youtube.com/theinDoorAdventurer. Because somebody else took Indoor Adventures because they're chumps and not as cool as us. But we are very close to hitting 200 followers on Twitch. So I'm going to be trying to post more about that to get more people involved because I really like this community. And you can find me here doing the same damn thing I do every Monday and Tuesday, which is DMing for not only our homebrew game, but also DMing for our Waterdeep Dragon Heist game on Tuesdays. Hopefully starting either early to mid next month. There's also going to be some new changes to the schedule that will leave Monday and Tuesday completely fine. But we're going to be adding more stuff, more days, more time, more of the same damn people at the same damn place. So stay looking forward to that. I don't know where I was going. I almost lost it, but here we are, found it again. So that is all that I have to say. That is all
Patreon.
We have. Oh, Patreon. Yeah, thank you. And if you would like to join us on our Discord, why doesn't it work? if you would like to join us at our Discord, you can either subscribe to us on Twitch using that awesome free Amazon Prime subscription that you get for having the Twitch, or you can join us through Patreon. And Patreon, you can get questions immediately to us via our questions for the courts, as after this we are going to record an after show where we get to answer any and all questions that you have sent to us during or after the show. And of course, in Patreon, I also write an adventure every month that you get as just part of being a patron. So it's pretty cool. But that is going to be all of my spiel. So I wanted to say thank you all again for coming by and spending your time with us. And I hope that you enjoyed yourself, because I know that we did. And we will see you guys next week. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.